Okay, good evening. I'd like to introduce Magne Magler Wiggen of the MMW practice from Oslo. I did only know the Filtex container house when I invited him here, but I did know that they also do a lot of urban refurbishment and restructuring in a way which is related to flexibility, temporality, and unarchitectural materials, but always include action or inspiration for action. Of course, they did also, they are an architectural practice, which means they also do real buildings, how do we call them? Which means their architectonic approach is based on the belief that built environments have not always to express the wish for eternal statements. The history of prefabricated small units started, of course, with the modern movement. Gropius, Waxman, Le Corbusier, etc. came back again and again to it. And for some time there is a revival of the container idea related to the changes in people's movements and changes in use and life. There is also a long history of urban intervention since the Russian constructivists, the Dadaists and artists. Fernand Léger proposed already in the 20s in his proposal Apropos de Cinema to remove all decoration from Paris, paint all facades of the houses white and project films on them. That was seen at the time as a very radical project. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much. Let's just see what MMW have to say to all those. Magne Magler Wiggen, I always have difficulties with Magne Magler Wiggen. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Joe, you can switch on the projector. Do this microphone work? You can hear me clearly? Yeah. Thank you very much, Pascal, for the introduction. And thank you very much for inviting me here. I come from and run a practice in Oslo, Norway. It's the capital of Norway, and it's located far in the Oslo fjord. I was told that I should tell you something about my background when I was going to have a lecture here at AA. And this is some of my background. On the lower line you see the street I'm raised in the middle, and our family's winter cottage, and our summer house on the right hand side. The other structures and buildings are buildings passing on our way to summer and winter house. It's a traditional old storage house on the top left, a so-called stabbur, and it's a state church on the middle there. These two other structures are industrial structures. The one far right is a concrete outshipment silo in some way, and the other one is a broken crane. Many of these projects I'm going to show you has kind of relations to these old building tradition of Norway. It's a long tradition of building buildings that can be torn down, moved to another place, and put up again with not much harm. It's the same way these old buildings are built. These are places where I studied. On the bottom, on the right-hand side is the school in Oslo, where I started. I had some of my education from Chicago at Illinois University, the University of Illinois at Chicago. And I also had a term traveling through South America, visiting and having lectured at universities there. The top picture is Brazil. After finishing school, I worked in New York for Bernard Tschumi. I came over to New York as a photographer assistant. Worked at night and tried to get work on the daytime. And I started at Bernard's office. Then I went home to Norway again and started working with Nils Torp. You probably know him from doing this headquarters of BA out at Heathrow. At both places I actually worked on communication centers and bridges. Wrong way. And these are the guys I'm working with today. I finished up at Nils Torp's office and established my own practice 3 years ago. And now these guys are working on daytime, and I guess we're probably in and out, we're about 10 people. Some students working for us, and different artists working and collaborating on different projects. The way I'm going to go through the projects is as a trip from the forests of around Oslo and down to the harbor. It's the projects. It's a kind of sampling of our projects into sites that we think of as potential for building new buildings in Oslo. And it's a kind of clean cut through Oslo from the forests that's surrounding the city and down to the harbor at the end of this fjord. We're starting off at an old monastery up at in the woods, and our idea is that we want to show that new pieces, new architecture, modern architecture has to be put between and together with and besides the old stuff. This is a kiosk, kind of temporary building. It looks kind of temporary, and but our suggestion is to make it more contemporary. So I'm going through some projects that we make as suggestions for these buildings and sites that we pass on the way. This is a cinema for approximately 50 people that's been touring Norway, and it's been visiting 70 cities and places all around in Norway. It's hosted and run by one man, and he has this truck, this lorry, that all the technical equipment are put in, and then he has this dome-size pneumatic structure that is held up by pressure, air under pressure. It's supposed to be. It's very quick to to raise it. It takes about an hour, and the same with packing it together. Here is another project that's exhibition of our office projects in a gallery, and you're actually visiting just this pneumatic structure, and you're never in the gallery. And all our projects are projected on the inside of this fabric. This was the first project I did in collaboration with Helle Hansen, the cloth and seawear fabric company in Norway. They in the 60s they made a lot of these pneumatic structures for tennis courts and skate rinks and stuff, but they haven't been doing it since I started collaborating with them when we made this exhibition. That exhibition actually transformed to be a stage set for a new ballet with Norway's first prima ballerina, and we used the structure as a place to project pictures taken by a famous Norwegian photographer. The thing was that this ballet also was going to tour Europe, and it was important that the stage set could be fitted in a suitcase. Here is our suggestion for the Millennium exhibition in Oslo. It's the same dome size pneumatic structures, and the idea was that these structures should start up in Oslo, and then the exhibitions should tour all around the country. It turned out that we got the new government at that time, and they wanted another exhibition. This is the latest pneumatic structure we made. It's a smaller exhibition for the capital of Oslo. They are having this. It's a kind of stand, kind of a presentation of Oslo's environmental friendly issues. They have 6 issues, and they are touring Europe with this exhibition. It's a projection of a video film in the bottom, and you have different tools that you can operate inside this ball. And there is a sound connecting to each theme. So these are our proposal for the new kiosk. Another stop on the way. It's a dam with shallow water. We did just sketches to provoke. There was a discussion on what to do with the harbor area, and we also made this project for a text writer in an advertising firm. He's trying to raise money to build this vacation, this summer house. It's a steel structure on pontons, and yeah, this is how it should fit at this dam. Gas stations has been a great discussion in Norway. There are several people that really want new gas stations to look like these old state church thing or stabbur. They want it to look very traditional, and that's the idea of how to get a gas station into the environment. We think of it a little bit different, and I'm going to go through another project. It's an advertising firm, advertising agency that we have dealt with shapes and forms that I'll show you. This is an advertising firm that their name is Inferno, and the concept for this their new offices is taken from La Divina Commedia by Dante. It's a story, or more like a vision that Dante, this Venetian author, have. He's having a trip. He's going on a journey where it's coming to the gates of hell, and he looks down, as you can see from the top here. He looks down, and it's a huge shaft that goes in circles down to the center of the earth, where Satan lives. And as he's standing there looking down, he's taken down by 3 wild animals: a lion, a panther, and a wolf. And they are taking him down to the first step, where he meets his guide in hell, and that's Vergilius, who was a Roman author, and he take him through this trip in hell. This is the plan for this new agency. What we have done is we put Vergilius as a reception desk, and then we have a lion's meeting room, and a panther, and a wolf. All the offices are kind of traditional closed box offices. This agency they don't want to sit in open landscape anymore. So what we've done is that we made open meeting rooms and closed offices, but the offices are quite. They are made in glass and very translucent. The whole area here. So this part is the more public part, where they're going to have exhibitions, they're going to have parties, and it's more like a public space where the meeting rooms are. And we established a bridge over the backyard and a new tunnel on the side here. Now, this was supposed to be animation of this, or it is animation, but it seems like the computer here won't read it, so I just had to describe to you more of the project. This is our first proposal for the meeting room, called the Lion. It's 3-shaped forms, and we've been working on this and trying to establish it in fiberglass or carbon glass, but now we're working with Helle Hansen on this, and we're trying to sort out these forms in as a tubular pneumatic structure. Also, this was going to be an animation, but I'm sorry, it doesn't turn out to work. Here you see a plan and some sections of this one of these meeting rooms. It's a tubular structure that goes all around the room, and the room is kind of open just outside, and here they will have the presentations in the room shown on the back wall there. This is from Helle Hansen's workshop, where we're making models of this construction, and this is a part of this. I think this is the lion. It seems like all these rooms now are going to be pure white, and we're going to have projections of a lion and panther and wolves. And, yeah, third animation. This is Vergilius' spot. We're designing clothes for this receptionist, and she's going to be a kind of a guide through the agency. This is a structure in wood, and it's being made now by IKEA's IKEA special workshop. It's covered with a soft foam, and then we have welded rubber around it. Yeah, here you can see the working drawing on it. And it's going to hang from the ceiling in the room. These are some drawings on these on the cellular offices, where a very important thing for this agency was that everybody wanted to be able to play loud music, smoke, and shout in the phone. So everyone has got their own box, glass box, and they have a space between them that is approximately 30 centimeters or something. And as you can see, they're individual boxes, and all the way at all these places we're gonna have different exhibitions of artists and installations. Here you can see, this is from the site yesterday. They started to put up these glass walls, and here you can see the exhibition space. Yeah, and back to this gas station on our way. Our proposal: a more free form, much more connected to shapes and forms that we see in cars. Yeah, further down the street, this is a guy living in the street here. He is selling, by Christmas, he's selling Christmas trees. All the other year of the year, I don't know what he's doing. These are proposals we did for Telenor. It's a telecom company that is building their new headquarters at our old airport. We did these structures as a proposal for them to take to use the runway as a site where they had movable houses that could drive around on the runway. They could have meeting rooms and stuff. This is one of those structures that we thought of running around on the old airport. And here are these guys coming down the streets. Yeah, a square. We have this wall, this fire guard wall, and as you see here, and we have a flat roof. I will show you a project that we're working with right now. It's a private house. It's a house from the 60s, and the owner, he's a collector of modern art, and especially sculpture, especially modern sculptures. And we found this model that was the original ideas of the architect. Today it seems quite different from this model, but what we have done is that we're taking this old house and we kind of cleaned it up. We established again this pool outside, made it a little bit longer, and okay, this just here it takes a little bit of time. It's a concrete basement of this house, and it's a wood structure on top of this. Inside the house we have established two vertical elements. And one of these elements is where we have all the bathrooms. The other element is where the fireplaces are. And this is the first vertical element. It's a steel structure, and the other element is here. All the other area we're having quite open. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is now made as a steel structure, and we're taking this structure also through 3 floors. And yeah, there we are. Sorry, it's something with just these pictures. Today we have established this vertical element in pure concrete, and this is where he's going to have his stereo equipment. So it is going to be for sound and all kind of AV projections and the fire. Here you can see the plan again. It's the entrance area. You enter over a shallow pool, and you have 2 small bedrooms on the side here. And here is this bathroom element, the master bedroom, and the kitchen. Then it's open all the way here and also down to the winter garden. And it's a small terrace out here. We've been walking 1 floor down, and as you can see, this bathroom element is situated at the same side, and there is a pool room, and here there are the TV room. The section of this shows that this vertical element is more like a freely shaped structure, and here we have this concrete element, and we establish a roof terrace on the top. So here you see the top plan of the bathroom element. Here we are in the basement, and there you have the section of it. It's more like a head or a mask or kind of structure just put in this old house. And it goes over these 3 floors. It's a structure with the construction is mainly in steel, but it's cladded inside with concrete and tiles. You can see from the workshop where they're finishing up the steel structure. This is the part that is going to be on the roof, and this is the part where they're finishing up right now the aluminum cladding on the outside. This is for the basement. So this is the attention. This is our stuff put on the roof and on the wall there. Turnarounds are, it's been built an enormous amount of turnarounds in Oslo and Norway, and this we think of as a site. This is the container house, as Pascal mentioned. It's called Filtex. It's F-I-H-L-T-E-X. That resembles the different types we have of the house. the plans. It's a structure made out of two regular steel containers, one 40-footer and a 20-footer. This is the 40-footer that goes through all the way, and the 20-footer is divided in two, and we have one on each side here. Then it's added a cube in the front and a cube on the top. On the back, as you're going to see later, it's added a bathroom. It's a structure connected to the ground by actually these four it's 4 bolts, screws that connects it to the ground. Inside of the structure, it's only painted. So this is also, as you can see, a project we've done in collaboration with Helly Hansen. So it's like it's made a kind of all-weather jacket for this house, with insulation on the outside and a skin for the weather. And the way it's constructed is very much like a jacket or a shoe or a raincoat, as like, you know, by the terraces. I don't think this will work. I'm sorry about that, but I'll just go through it. Yeah, here you can see the plan. The stairs became a little bit different from this, but it's more or less like you have an entrance area, which is half of the 20-foot container, and you have a living room area. Here you have a skylight from the tower, and the kitchen, and then the bathroom. And the bathroom is with a shower and a toilet and a sink. And in the middle here you have access to the terrace, the roof terrace. Yeah, here you see some sections of the construction. It is a structure that can be that doesn't need to connect to anything actually. It's tanks on the top of the building, with one with water and one with gas, and on the top here on the tower it's solar panels, and you have the sewer down there. Different kind of systems could be used. I mean, the way we've used it until now, it's been connected to electricity and water, but it's a freestanding building that don't need any infrastructure. And the stairs is just connected on the top here with one screw, which means it can be put in different terrains. Yeah, these are some drawings from where when we had it on sea. It's been launched on what do you call it in English? A lecture? On a boat, on a flat boat, and then we needed to strengthen this up a little bit. So it got this. It's now illegal to sail with this house. Yeah, these are some of the renderings that we presented before building the prototype. Different situations. We did have to try to launch this house, to get it built. I got a youth loan from Oslo, the city, and I thought I was going to be able to build the house, but they had some strict rules. For instance, a living room can't be as narrow as this living room, and you also have to own the site to get a loan. So it was difficult to get this built, to establish money for it. We had here we're doing a presentation in the magazine where with some well-known politicals, and when they didn't want to move in, some other guys took over. But we got this built. We were invited to an art fair, art biennial, yeah, in the southern part of Norway, and it turned out that we were sponsored by the different people delivering building goods and building materials. We got Helly Hansen as a co-op partner, and we got this huge shipbuilding, ship construction firm Kværner to weld the construction. Here you can see the coat. It's made up in parts with zippers and Velcro, which means it's possible to take it all from each other and store it inside the container when you are moving. Yeah, this is the interior. It's as you can see, it's the air from the tower, and it's actually quite a lot of light, daylight inside it, and the structure inside is just like plain painted containers. Actually, the tower on the top, it also have a kind of technical function, because during summertime it gets quite hot inside a steel structure like this, and but it becomes even hotter on top of this glass tower, and that makes it work as a kind of a pump. When you open the doors there, you suck out the hot air from downside, and it becomes quite well, not maybe chilly, but it clears the air. So here it is in the turnaround. Yeah, just a slope. No one used it during the winter time. We were invited to make a proposal for a refugee building for individual refugees in Oslo, and it's more or less based on the same principle as Urbatex. It's smaller containers, and it's one rig that they're connected to all the way, and it's a structure that can easily be moved when either the refugees are going home or they want to live somewhere else. Mainly they want to live in the city, which means our proposal is to take and use spaces like this. So here they are. Yeah, a more stepped slope, a small platform. We suggest to put some other projects we've done on a site like this. This is a Sami cultural house, way up in the northern part of Norway. It's a house that's going to present Sami culture on a place called Tana. Yeah, it's a connection. The connection to the ground are just these steel columns, and here there is a concrete vertical element connecting it to the ground. This is another project. It's a school. It has the same principle, a platform, and the main part of the buildings are up in the air. yeah, so the students in the school are all here, and so this is the proposal for this site, to make this slopey area free for use and build in the air. Yeah. Here's this guy again on the way down the road. A park where they have actually made this park quite nice. It's been built artificial river in a way in the park, but it's very two-dimensional in a way. So our proposal is to build some kind of bridges, more three-dimensional pieces in the park. This is the bridge from from Inferno, and this is a tunnel from Time Machine, the cinema, the moving cinema. And these are proposals for the park. Translucent fabric made by Helle Hansen, and steel structures. Yeah, an open gap between two buildings, and there is a mountain on the back here that has a history of silver mining. It's a story that no one actually bothered much about in Oslo these days, but this mountain on the back here it's really penetrated by a lot of silver mines. So our suggestion is to establish rooms inside this mountain. This is from a stage set that we made for a Norwegian short movie. It's a science fiction film where we used the kind of we used both Time Machine, the cinema, and these exhibition pieces. We used 3 or 4 of these thematic structures that we built, and then put them together. So we thought of making a kind of entrance to this hill, and letting people into these old shacks. Yeah, here we are at the top of this hill, and we're looking down to an old, what is this called in English? Silo? Yeah, okay. Yeah, these days they are trying to figure out how to use this silo as a youth or a student house, a dorm or something. And we thought of it as a good idea to back up this silo, which is a huge structure in an area where there's just low-rise buildings. And this is a sketch for another Millennium project we made. It's an exhibition and gallery. It's a gallery at the top, maybe with a cafe or something, and it's an open steel structure all the way down with cubes for exhibiting different kind of art piece and design pieces. What is it called? The issue for making this was that the idea was that Noah, he was gonna fill up his ship in year 2000, and these stuff hanging under the ship was gonna be examples, good pieces to carry along. Yeah, another AV that doesn't really work. Sorry about that. Then this is our proposal for the area. Using these exhibition site as living and dormitories. Yeah, a huge parking lot that hasn't been built here for 50 years or something. It's just been a gap. And we thought of putting this project here. This is a sketch for a greenhouse that we made some other place in Oslo. It's both concrete, steel, and wood construction. The idea was actually to build a seed that was the beginning of the botanical garden in Oslo. One seed from a palm tree from the Canary Islands started this botanical garden. And our proposal was to build this seed and establish just one floor in concrete with different greenhouses all the way around. These greenhouses were, the structures of them was built up as a DNA molecule, and we suggested that it was possible to open the structure all the way around with wood panels. Yeah, here you can see it from the inside with these greenhouses and the seed standing on 4 legs in the garden. And here it's in the middle of the town. Yeah, this is a poor social housing house further down the street. I'll show you another project that we made as a proposal as a rehabilitation of an old Esso motor hotel. What we do is the hotel is on the back here, and what we do is that we establish a new facade in the front and make a diner here, and we put on top a new conference room with a VIP conference room on the side, being able to look all the way to the fjords. This is located very close to the highway, where there's a queue in the morning. People are standing in the queue into town, and in the evening they're standing in queue out of town. And we are what is it called? The director of the hotel. He's trying to get a radio station to run kind of live performance stuff from here, which can be projected on the pneumatic structure. Yeah, or at this moment we're working on this as a conference room for the hotel. Yeah, this is from the site. The same ideas we thought of for this house: a new facade in a more furniture-like material, glass facade, and then we put the structure on the top. Yeah, this is a quite poor area. As you can see, this is not the best part of town. The way we've been walking down. Right here, a lot of drug addicted people are hanging, and a lot of young people are also hanging around in the area. And what authorities have done is they put up a sculpture here of a moose, and that's it. So and here, this is a bus where they're handing out soup. So this is a proposal we made some years ago for this is the town hall of Oslo. The politicians had made a very nice and very expensive new stairway into the town hall, and of course a lot of skaters did really appreciate it as a way of running with skateboard. So it was a quarrel between the politicians and the skaters, and they used the police to force them away from the stairs. So I suggested to give them a ramp on wheels, and when the politicians came too close, they could just wheel it around somewhere else on the square. So we're suggesting to put something like that, a movable structure that gives something back to an area like this. Yeah, these are Oslo's the only two high-rise buildings in Oslo, and everyone thinks this is a terrible building. This was the first that came up in the 60s, and this came in the 80s. A lot of people want to tear this down. A lot of people think it's too high, think it's too wide, and it's been a lot of discussion on what to do with it. Today there are plans dividing it into two and making it look smaller. Our suggestion is to take this office building and turn it into housing. It's a very nice plan that really goes up to. It's very much the same model as Voodoo, is it called that? As Corbusier's high-rise buildings, and we put kind of private houses or individual houses in a steel structure on the top of this. And then we are down at the harbor. Now they're building a new opera building down here. But it's very difficult to establish anything around in the harbor. It's the harbor authorities are very strict on their activities, and the only way I think to get anything done here is to actually build in the harbor at the water. This is a project for a new Norwegian embassy. It's a steel structure, a tube, a huge tube, and the steel structure is covered with wood. The location it's somewhere on equator, and what happened is that fresh water from the sea is pumped on top of this structure, and the water is falling and covering all the structure. The sun is shining on it, and this what happens is that the heat from inside is taken outside when the water gets into dam. And inside this structure, the whole embassy is kind of organized like containers in glass. The embassy can be used as exhibition space, as a space for emergency, and it's quite flexible structure inside. It's few parts put together in different shapes. And the idea is that this building is built in Norway and sailed to wherever it's going to be used. Yeah, these are the upper part of it. And yeah, here are the CTEX buildings and the embassy at the end. I guess this was the last project. Yeah. Thank you very much. I don't know if anyone have questions.
I mean, for me it's interesting that it looks like that you, that at least, I mean, of course, there are a lot of projects which are not realized, but at least some are realized and some have the chance to be realized, which I think is, compared with London, pretty good. Also, like in Germany, it's not done very much, only for big exhibitions. And I think what is very nice in the work is that it all has, even it's the biggest structure, a small scale or a kind of human scale, which looks more like furniture of the city, big, on a bigger scale, furniture in a household. And so it gives another relation to things. So, anyway, thank you very much. Are there any questions?
I think of the site as I think it's important not to take away the site, and you don't lose the view. The public don't use the view, and you both get for this for the container building, for instance, you get more privacy getting up in the air, and the light, the sun, everything is it's kind of nicer up there, and of course it's also much more fun. A lot of people ask me about that, about the container building, and it's I mean when you get up there, you know it. It's really nice up there. It's you're not very. It's private.
Pascal referred to a domestic scale, but you seem quite deliberately overscale in the way that they're shown. I don't know if that's for effect or for a bit of controversy, or whether you really mean them to be that big. The question of scale is not discussed, but in relation to sites, they seem always deliberately they set out to achieve as little contact as possible.
I'm kind of educated in using a lot of tension on the site, and at one moment I tried to go the other way and think of what is it that is not important to take care from the site, to listen from the site. And as I mentioned in the beginning, this ideas from traditional building in Norway, the thing of not connecting the house to the site, it's a kind of free thinking, because the value of the house was so big that it was important to be able to carry it with them when they either moved or they got other things to use the house for. And still today, you have the same thing. People are buying houses and moving them around and putting them up. And I'm not sure if it's right to say that this project don't take advantage of the sites, but I hope they, in a way, fit in by just touch it gently, the sound. About these projects being kind of oversized for these montages is it's kind of the issue when we made this project. It was to provoke the Norwegian politicians. It was to say that this is it's important to see that what we're building today also can be a value in itself, and it's not dangerous to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, could you expound a little bit about your working relationship with Helly Hansen and how it can meet any potential disputes you and alluded to in thematic structure, and how you see the future of the relationship building?
Yeah. Helly Hansen, they have a small daughter firm in this the big mother firm. It's called Helly Hansen Special Products, and they were quite huge on building pneumatic structures in the 60s. And you saw this guy from the workshop. He's been there since the 60s, and he's really keen on getting these our pneumatic projects up and going. And today it's like in Helly Hansen, they don't sew or make any of their clothes in Norway. They just invent and experiment at their offices and workshops in Norway. And it has turned out that they have been very interested in trying to experiment with us and these structures, and it seems like they got more and more interest from also others that want to use fabric in one or the other way. And for us, it's been in the beginning it was really strange for me how nice it was to work. I mean, you have to work three-dimensional. We work in models to make to find the forms on the sheets that we're welding together, and it's very nice to work with contractors and builders that have a quite different view on what is called precision. They're very precise. It's like making clothes in a way, and it's quite cheap. It gets up very quick, and you don't. It usually fits. And if it doesn't fit, you just move it a little bit, or you tighten it up a little bit, and then it fits. So it's very easy and convenient to work with. And as we now are trying to experiment or to make a solution, a construction for these meeting rooms for Inferno, we've been using a self. What is it called? A structure that doesn't need to have. You don't have to walk through two doors, which means it holds it up by itself. Yeah.
What happened to the container house approach? Still access to it? Is it moving around? Are there plans of what project? Did anybody react?
Yeah, we had a lot of what do you say, reactions on it. a lot of people were very interested in the house. A lot of people wanted to buy a house, and we had some investors that wanted to produce the house in Poland. And in this period, the house were exhibited in a town south of Norway, and actually the house was last fall, the house was stolen by by a prospect group of Hells Angels, I think. And it was a kind of dramatic event because at that time this company that was going to produce it in Poland, they went broke and they hadn't taken care of it. So I suddenly got a telephone from the police authorities in this town, and they asked me if I own this house because they found parts of it. And so we went down to this site, and we found that most of the house was stolen. And it turned out that I engaged a detective to try to find the house. He he worked on the case for two weeks, and then he got some clues, and he invited me down there. And we met some people that probably or maybe knew something, but they wouldn't tell us. And but they did guide us to go to an old, what was it, a sawmill or something. And we went down there, and there it was. And this was the headquarters of this motorcycle gang. And from there I called the police and and said, can I bring this stuff? It's mine. I found it. It's, as you know, it's stolen. But then they said, just get in the car and go away from there. And two days later, I went with the police because they were very keen on getting into this area and have a reason. And this house was their reason to have a razzia. So I went with them on a razzia to get my house back. And yeah, and we got it. And the police, they got some drugs and stuff. And yeah, that's the last part. Now it's since last fall, it's been stored inside a storage house. So, but it's an interest of putting it up, combined or in connection with a film set that is going to be done in Norway, where Gerard Depardieu, he needs a trailer that is a little bit different. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with it. We got it back from this prospect group of Hells Angels, and it's not going to be a case of it. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I was really curious because they haven't. They hadn't put it together in a proper way. And I don't know. And they must have had really huge bikes because it's heavy. The whole house is approximately, with all the items, several tons. So I really didn't get the clue why they were stealing it. But in a way, it's. In a way, that's the bad part about the movable house. It can be stolen. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Beautiful.